The 2024 Infiniti QX50 is here, and believe it or not, this is actually my very first Infiniti I've ever driven, ever. Is it worth the $61,000 price tag for the autograph? Let's talk about it. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Sparkplug TV. My name is Chris and I do car reviews for literally everybody, not just car enthusiasts. As always, before I begin today's video, please do me the biggest favor ever and like this video, comment something down below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so that you get notified whenever I drop a new video, which is whenever I can, typically Fridays at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for your support. This is now Sparkplug TV ASMR. Could you imagine? The Infiniti QX50 is currently in its second generation. The second generation came out in 2019. They skipped a year for 2018. They were tired, okay? And it's in the compact luxury crossover SUV segment, which shares a segment with the Genesis GV70, the BMW X3, the BMW X1, the Mercedes-Benz GLC. It's up against a lot of competition right now. Let's see if it stacks up. Now, this next segment might be a little confusing, but stick with me and we'll get through it together. I'll hold your hand here. You got it? Okay, here we go. For the 2024 model year, there were 5 trim levels to choose from. The Pure started at $42,000, while this is the top-of-the-line Autograph for $59,000. This specific model is stickered at $61,000 MSRP. But new for 2025, because the 2024 models are no longer able to be built on Infiniti's website, there are only 3 trim levels to choose from, starting with Pure, then there's Luxe, and then there's Sport. Now, the Pure does start a little bit more expensive at $44,000, but the top-of-the-line Sport only starts around $52,000. So I find that to be very interesting that they made the top-of-the-line cheaper, but the base model a little bit more expensive. No matter the model year, every Infiniti QX50 comes with a turbocharged 2.0-liter inline 4-cylinder engine that outputs 268 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. It's then tied to an all-wheel drive drivetrain, as I've already mentioned, and a CVT, which actually isn't all that bad, that we'll get into in a little bit. Now, if you're wondering what the VC Turbo stands for, it is a variable compression ratio turbocharger. And basically, it vacillates between an 8:1 compression ratio or a 14:1 compression ratio, which is supposed to help with efficiency and power output. But we'll get into why it's a little wonky in a little bit. You know, objectively from this angle, I actually really like the way that the second generation Infiniti QX50 looks. It's like not too over designed. It has all of the simplistic lines that I'm looking for while still maintaining the Infiniti's design language. It's got that rectangle Infiniti front grille that I really like. It's got some very nice headlamps that are LED with the LED daytime running lights with some automatic high beams, and they turn with the steering wheel for that extra luxurious touch. Now, I really like the side profile. It's kind of my favorite, especially by the C-pillar. The C-pillar's design is really nice, but it really implements a mixture of really nice line work with simplicity, and I really like it. Now, to me, the back 3/4 angle of the QX50 looks the most like the outgoing generation, especially in its squatty looking stance, just a little bit more modernized. I really like these LED tail lamps. I also really like the fact that they didn't implement a light bar and instead opted for this luxurious looking chrome accent, as well as the quintessential Infiniti logo in the back. It also has an auto-opening tailgate that opens up into 35 cubic feet of storage with the seats up and 61 cubic feet with the seats down. Aren't you proud of me for remembering the numbers off the top of my head? I sure am. Let's take it for a drive. I have some conflicting thoughts about the interior. The quilted semi-aniline leather is actually very nice. I really like these seats. They're very well bolstered. They're comfortable. The general aesthetic of this interior is actually very nice. The build quality and the quality of all the materials is actually very luxurious. The blue suede is very nice. The brown leather for the dashboard as well as the top of the door panels is very nice. This open pore wood grain with the silver trim is also very nice. It's really well designed and laid out. I also really like the design of this blue suede kind of two-tone look. You can get it in the red and the black, but this one is the blue and the tan. And I really like how it kind of goes up into the dashboard and the center stack. It's a really cool design. Even though it doesn't share a platform with the Z anymore, it does have a Z looking gear selector, and I think for a car like this, I think it makes sense. So here's my qualm about the interior. In all of my videos, I've complained about how luxury cars, and especially like newer luxury cars, don't include a lot of real tactile buttons. What I will give the interior is that it has plenty of real tactile buttons, and it works, and I love them, especially for the HVAC controls. Except for the heated steering wheel, that is in the bottom screen, but that's okay. But everything else is a real tactile button, and especially like the heated and cooled seats, those are all real buttons. But the infotainment system is interesting. So it's got these two different screens. It almost looks like a Nintendo DS to me. So you've got this bottom screen that has the majority of the menus, and it's actually, you're gonna interact with that more than the navigation screen up top. And it's a very interesting layout. So you're going to be able to access your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto from down here. You're gonna be able to put in the GPS address and stuff. All of the quick guides and the mode selectors and the settings and stuff, they're all housed down here. There are also physical buttons to get you to different destinations like the audio, the climate control, and the home screen menu. It's just a little dated. It's just a tiny bit dated, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's also really not a whole lot to do up in this screen up here. Now, this is where your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto is gonna be, and it works fine. I haven't had any issues with it. They've also implemented a remote controller down here that I feel is kind of redundant. I think that they need to update the interface. Like, I like the idea of it, but I think that the interface itself needs to be a little updated. So that's the interior, so let's get to the driving. Now, 6.40 to 60, not the fastest in the market. It's truly not. For what it lacks in speed, it makes up for in handling capability and transmission. This is like the only CVT that I've driven in a long time, next to maybe a Hyundai's, that I actually really like. But this one actually shifts like a proper step transmission, and I actually really appreciate it. The other thing is that it has that variable compression system that is supposed to help with, like I said, efficiency and power. And the problem is that it actually elicits a ton of turbo lag. The other problem is that the engine itself sounds a little unrefined. For the fact that it's an SUV, this thing actually handles incredibly well. I mean, it's very articulate, it's decently fun to drive. The only problem is the engine. All right, well, that's all I've got for today's video. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so that you get notified whenever I drop a new video, which is whenever I can, typically Fridays at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for your support. This has all the trimmings and trappings of a luxury car at this point. It's got the really nice materials. It looks nice. It's got really nice wheels. It's got the projector logo for when you come up to it at night, you know. But what I'm finding is that a lot of the features that this has is already down market. And down market meaning like Toyota, Nissan, Hyundai. Luxury brands at this point really need to step it up, because if they don't, they will fall behind. And that's kind of evident in what this is and what this offers. What it has going for it is the quality of the interior materials, really high-end quality materials, except for maybe the window switches and the stock controls and stuff, because it's just a last-gen Nissan with sterling silver on it. But it also has a really nice design language on the inside and the outside. I really like the way that it looks. Where it also kind of falls behind is in the engine, in the way that it sounds and in the way that it performs. Now, the variable compression system does sound like a nice idea in theory, but in practice, it actually offers a lot of turbo lag. But what it has going for it in its performance is the handling, and the CVT is probably one of the best CVTs I've ever driven. That's probably why Infiniti marked it down a little bit for the top of the line, and probably understood that customers are not gonna wanna spend $60,000 for something with technology that is from like 2015, 2016. So, you know, again, not a bad choice, not really my first choice. I just need them to update the interface on the infotainment system. Keep the physical buttons, please keep the physical buttons. And you know what I do, even though it's from a Nissan Rogue, I do like the gauge cluster. And it tows. It tows more than anybody in this segment. So anyways, that's all I've got for today's video. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hey Sparks, thanks for watching today's video. Do you want more Sparkplug TV content? Then you can choose one of these three options. Right over here. The middle button is to subscribe to my channel, so please do that. Right over here. These three. I can't see them in real life, but they're right here.